beef industry, the whole commercialization of dairy, vegan products, and what all that has to do with Hinduism, our Hindu lifestyle, our Hindu values, and basically where in this whole universe do Hindus really stand, and what is the place of nationalism in all of this. So I want to talk about all of these things today, and I'll just wait for a few minutes for some people to tune in. Just give me a moment. So, as some of you might be aware, there was a recent outrage just yesterday about asking some big milk commercial giants to start producing vegan products. This was the core issue, and this request came from PETA, People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. Now, there are two aspects to this controversy. First of all, the very fact that this proposition came from PETA is a cause for concern, because PETA is really not a very ethical organization in the first place. They themselves follow many unethical practices, and they consistently target Hindu culture. So when a request like this comes from a guilty party, that itself becomes a cause or a topic for concern, for discussion, for debate, and for denial of the problem. So, I want to separate out these two issues first of all. PETA is an unethical organization, but this issue of dairy farming, dairy industry, and of the need or the question of do we need vegan products, that is a separate issue. We cannot actually combine the two. Just because a request is coming from PETA does not mean that somehow we are living in a perfect world in India. That's just simply not true. So I want to first of all address the main aspect of this, which is my bigger concern: the dairy industry, the beef industry, the commercialization of dairy, and why do we need vegan products? I want to address that problem, because that problem is getting completely ignored, completely bypassed, completely unaddressed in the clamor around PETA. So the whole, so to say, the limelight has been taken by PETA, whereas the problem, which does need to be addressed, is somehow getting swept under the rug. So I also want to mention that I am not 100% well, so I will end this live stream if I feel like I'm not able to carry on. But at the same time, if you do have some genuine questions asked, you can ask me. Feel free to ask me in the comments. Even after the live video is over, you can ask me your questions in the comments, and I will answer them later on if for some reason I'm not able to answer it on the live stream. At the same time, if you ask me nonsensical questions, I'm not going to answer them, because I don't want to ruin my health over a bunch of trolls. So I will answer the questions which are genuine, which come from a space of actual genuine curiosity, not just questions being asked for the for the heck of it. So coming to the dairy industry now, many of us, when we drink milk or when we consume dairy products, we do not realize that milk actually comes from a cow. This may seem like a very obvious thing to most people, like, yeah, milk comes from cow, but the cow is a living being. That cow is a creature. She has friends, she has children, she has her own family, she has progeny, she has feelings, she has emotions, she has health, she has lack of health, she can also get disease, she can also develop health conditions. She is a sentient being. The cow is not a milk giving machine, as many of us unfortunately think her to be. The cow is called Gau Mata, which is mother, not just because she gives milk. Yes, of course, the cow gives milk for all of humanity, but The cow is called Gau Mata because of the very advanced emotional level of the cow, because the level of empathy and love she has for all creatures. In the Vedas, this is explicitly mentioned that the cow is worshipped for her, very high level of existence as far as emotional stability and emotional generosity and compassion is considered. Cow is one of the most compassionate creatures on the planet. That is the reason why cow gives milk actually. So it's not that we worship Gau Mata because she gives milk, but it is just that she gives milk as one of her ways of nurturing humanity. So the cow is basically a sentient being, but when we reduce her in a very materialistic way, when we reduce the cow to just a milk giving machine, we are starting the problem right there. It's not just a question of what we do after that. That attitude, that approach of reducing a cow to just a milk giving machine, that itself is a problem. That is the beginning of many, 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 many problems. Now, what are these many, many problems? I will go on to describe these. And I want everybody who watches this video, whether live or later, to please think a little bit about what I'm saying. Don't just come and ask me questions for the heck of it. Spend a little time in thinking, in observing, in trying to analyze what I'm saying, because I have spent 3 years researching this. I've talked to many people who have goshalas, dairy farms. I've gone and visited dairy farms. So whatever I'm saying is based on personal experience as well as data analysis, as well as science, as well as analysis and study of Vedagas and Upanishads. So I'm not giving just some random ideas. I'm not throwing random ideas at you. I have put in the work. I have put in a lot of effort into this, and I'm not here to convince somebody, but I also want people to understand the consequences of their actions. Humanity has become so unconscious that we take hundreds of actions every day without understanding the consequences of your actions. And those consequences have far reaching effects for you also, not just for the cow. When you reduce the cow to just a milk giving machine, essentially you're, of course, starting the problem right there. That attitude itself is the problem. I just want to, just for reference, I want to point out to everyone here who is here, the annual consumption of cow milk. I don't know if this is just cow milk or milk, but here it says cow milk. The annual consumption of cow milk in the year 2020 for India was, I think, 81 million metric tons. Right? Yeah, 81 million metric tons. Let that figure really sink into your heads first. 81 million metric tons for the year 2020. Now that figure is only increasing because the population is increasing. But not just the population increasing, there's also, of course, greed of human beings which is increasing. There is also the effect of consumerism, which is consuming human beings. See, we think consumerism is consuming objects, consuming things, but consumerism actually consumes you at the end of the day. And this figure of 81 million metric tons is multi-fold of what we were producing in, say, the year 91. Now, this is official statistics from the government website. This is 55.6 million metric tons production in the year 91. Now, production is not the same thing as consumption, of course. But that itself gives you an idea of the scale at which we have increased our production as well as our consumption. The production for the year 2018-19 is 188 million metric tons. 188 million metric tons for the year 2019. 2020 will be more than this. So we are obviously consuming almost half of what we are producing. But both consumption as well as production have increased more than 3 times in just the span of like 3 decades. 91, 2001, 2011, 2021. 3 decades, you can say roughly, because we have statistics only till 2020 and 2019. So we have increased our consumption and our production at a mind-blowing pace. Now, please do not tell me that this is somehow needed for humanity. Most of this is purely commercially driven. This is not the level of milk which human beings actually need. We do not need that level of milk consumption. What we need can be maybe more than, I mean, less than half of what is being produced actually. We produce almost, what is this, 188 million metric tons, and we consume almost 81 million metric tons. The rest is being like consumed in dairy products or consumed in as a part of some of the products. There are a lot of products like biscuits and things like that which consume condensed milk or some other form of milk. So it's going there. So this 81 million metric tons is just milk, fluid milk. That's why I said 81 million metric tons is the consumption of just milk. I mean, my mind boggles, like my mind is actually, even though I'm only the one speaking and sharing these facts, even my own mind is boggling with these figures. The level of insensitivity which we have reached with this kind of a consumption. 1 second. Just sharing this live stream because some people are asking where to join. Right. So this is a humongous problem because this 188 million metric tons is not being produced out of thin air. It comes from cows, and what it means for us, for Indians, for Hindus, is an insane level of breeding of cows, which is not at a natural pace. Cows also breed naturally, right? They reproduce naturally. But to achieve these numbers, you have to force them to reproduce at a rate which actually weakens the cow, which compromises her health, which makes her susceptible to a lot of pregnancy issues, which makes her susceptible to a lot of infections. And cows can get infections very easily if the dairy farm is not hygienically kept. This is something which people who actually work on dairy farms know, but many people don't think about these things. This disease called mastitis or something like that, which basically, a lactating cow can get infection in her, what do you call them? Forget the term. But when they are being milked, when they are carrying that milk, they become very, very prone to a lot of these infections. And if the area where they are sitting, where they are being nurtured, where they are being kept, if it is not kept hygienically, they can get infections. A lot of times these infections can go undiagnosed, which means that a lot of the milk which you get by forced breeding of the cow may lead to health issues for you. If a cow is getting infected, that infection will be there in her milk, and that infection will come to you when you drink that milk. These are things which people are just not thinking about. And this forced breeding of cows reduces the lifespan of cows. Instead of living their natural lifetime, They become so weak because they're continuously being forced to carry a child. They're continuously being forced to, reproduce. They're not being able to allowed to be reproduced. They're not being allowed to reproduce at a natural pace, at a natural speed, right? Now imagine if you are a woman and every time you just had a baby and somebody forces you to again have a baby, and then the moment you have that baby, you again have a baby. Just imagine what is going to happen to you. What will happen to you? Tell me. Your hormonal system will go haywire, your energy, your strength will be reduced, and obviously you're going to get weak. So, please understand what we are doing to animals when we are forcing them to breed. We are not taking a very humane view of life. And, we need to understand this from like a big picture perspective. There's somebody who is continuously spamming my chat. I'm not going to look at your comments. If you actually have a question to ask, you can ask me. Just spamming my chat with your stupid comment is really not going to work. I'm not going to respond to any stupid comments on the chat today. This is something I resolved because I'm not interested in beat tractors. I'm not interested in people's opinions. I don't know how to make it clear. I'm not interested in your opinions. I'm sharing my knowledge based on my actual field work. If you agree, great. If you don't agree, who cares? I'm here to share it with people who are curious, who want to learn something, who actually care about the cow. I'm not interested in people who are here just to troll me. Let me make that very, very clear, first of all. Trolls have absolutely zero relevance in the big picture scheme of the world. So, I was talking about this problem of forced breeding of cows. Now, try to understand. First problem we created with this insane increase in commercial milk, and I'm talking about commercial milk here. Commercial milk is very separate from the milk you get from small goshalas or from small dairy farms who are actually making the effort to nurture the cows, to nurture animals, to take care of animals. Mahabharat person, whoever you are, I will block you if you keep spamming. I know multiple breeds and I have lived in Goshalas, okay? So please don't spam my chat with your dumb comments. So what I'm talking about is a very real problem. If you do not believe in this problem, if you think, this is not relevant to you or whatever, you will very conveniently be blocked from my channel. So, like I was saying, this see, I keep losing the thread of the conversation. That is why I don't even want to read the comments. I just read them in case somebody has an intelligent question to ask. So I was explaining the difference between commercial dairy and the small dairy farms and goshalas. The small dairy farms and goshalas are people who have started their own ventures because they love the cow, because they want to nurture the cow, because they're actually interested in living with the cows and caring for the cows. And these are the people who actually nurture the cows beyond their lactating stage. And many of these goshalas, many of these dairy farms actually adopt cows which are, intended to be sent for slaughter. Many of these goshalas keep cows which we know will never give milk, but they keep them because of the love for cows, because they nurture the cows. I'm not against those goshalas and those small dairy farms or organic farms. They are the ones who we need to support. Commercial dairy, on the other hand, is a completely different ball game altogether, and we need to understand this difference very, 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 very well. We need to understand this difference very well. Commercial dairy is not in any way good for cows or for you. Commercial dairy is basically a conglomerate. They're aggregators. So for example, all these big brands, they don't produce milk of their own, but they collect milk from all these small other farms who do not follow humane practices. And then they bring the milk from there and they reconstitute that milk. They reconstitute the milk which is collected from multiple sources. So imagine there's milk coming from multiple sources and then it is being reconstituted, chemically reconstituted. And we don't know how they're adding more protein, how they're adding more vitamin D, how they're adding other things in it, which they say they are adding. There is, you know, there's creamy milk, and then there is low fat milk, and there's other types of milk. So that they're actually chemically altering the milk itself. This light is a little bit less. Just give me a moment. I want to increase the lighting. Okay, this is slightly better. Right. So these commercial dairy giants, they reconstitute the milk, which is not at all the same thing as getting milk from a goshala or a small dairy farmer. A small dairy farmer or who is following humane practices or a goshala, they are doing it for humane reasons. They're doing it as a way to nurture the cow. They're not doing it as a way to just make profit alone. Whereas commercial giants and even the laws, even everything we have in our legal framework, declaring ingredients, all that, that is all fine. But it is, it is, if you use just common sense, you will know that it is not really possible to maintain the same level of cream or the same level of fat in the milk consistently, because a cow is not a machine. The amount of cream or fat you get in milk every day is going to be different. How can you create a product for milk and say it is always going to have this much percentage of fat? It's practically impossible unless you are actually messing with that milk and artificially adding or subtracting the fat from it. Now, I don't know how many people want that sort of milk, but that is not something which is very healthy because you're chemically altering the milk essentially. You're mixing back more milk, more fat into it, and we don't know where that fat is coming from. None of these things are declared anywhere. They only give the percentage breakup of how much fat. We don't know where that fat is getting added from. So please don't think that it is somehow natural milk. There's nothing natural about it. Natural milk is a milk which comes from cows and which is, you can see that it is coming directly from the farm, directly from the cow. So, okay, let me just see now if there are any questions. So somebody is saying even small dairies use oxytocin or similar injections for commercial production of milk. What would be the solution for public cities, larger towns? I've answered this question many times actually. Now, once again, I'm just trying to aggregate the questions. So that is exactly the problem I'm trying to say here when I'm talking about forced production of milk. The small dairies, I'm making it very clear that there is a difference. Small dairies are the ones who are supplying milk to giants like Mother Dairy and Amul. Please try to understand what I'm trying to say. Amul and Mother Dairy don't own any cows on their own. They are collecting the milk from these small dairies. Milk is not falling from the sky. It is eventually coming from the cows which are in these dairies, in these small farms, in these people who have kept cows who supply milk to Amul and Mother Dairy and other Parag and all these other giants who are aggregators of this milk. And these are the people who inject the cows. These are the people who force the cows to breed. These are the people who leave the cows to die after they stop giving milk. And this person, Mahabharat, whoever you are, first listen to what I'm saying before going on talking. I am also trying to explain the same difference which you are so, desperate to talk about. If you join my live stream, please let me talk first. You cannot keep typing sentences every 1 second. I'm also explaining the same difference, but in a more sensible way. So, this problem you are talking about, oxytocin and all these injections are given to cows just to increase their yield. And this milk is going to the big giants. I am talking about gaushalas and humane dairy farms. Humane dairy farms do not torture animals, they do not inject animals, they do not force them to reproduce, they do not deny the cows of milk, they do not send the cows for slaughter after they stop giving milk. So you have to be able to differentiate between the two. I completely support Goshalas. I completely support having the milk from Goshalas. I do not support the milk giants and conglomerates. And I'm trying to explain why. If you will let me explain why. If you keep jumping in between, then I cannot do anything. I'm here to explain why. I'm sitting here giving so much of my time just to explain that difference, because people are still not getting it. So this, there's a difference, like I said. And the other problem which is generated by this insane breeding of cows is that, once the cows stop giving milk, these cows are either sent for slaughter or they are just let loose by the farmers on the street. They just send them out of the farm. Now, there are several states in India where cow slaughter is banned by law. So in these states, the farmers or these dairy farmers, they cannot send the cow for slaughter. So what they do instead is that they just let the cows loose on the streets. And that has created a very big stray cow problem in India. India is the only country in the world which has 5 million stray cows. 5 million. Just think about it. 5 million stray cows in India. And this is the case when cow slaughter is banned in some states. If cow slaughter actually gets banned in all the states, it should be banned. But then we are creating another problem that the number of stray cows is going to get increased. We are creating a problem either way. In the states where cow slaughter is not banned, these poor cows are sent for slaughter to produce beef. India is one of the top most beef producers in the world. India is the biggest producer of dairy in the world, and these are not things to be proud of. These are things to be very, very ashamed of. A country which is known all over the world for worshipping the cow. We ourselves go thumping our chest. Oh, we worship the cow. Yeah, we worship the cow, but how the hell can we support this level of beef production? How the hell can we support this level of dairy production which is exploitative to the cow? If you're doing that, there's a word for it. There's a word for doing something like this. That word is hypocrisy. If you do this, we are basically being hypocrites. And this is irrespective of political wings. So I have found both the wings and all sorts of narratives, all political narratives around this are filled with this one ingredient called hypocrisy. The left is very proud of their beef parties, and we had this beef, that beef, and when they do, the right wing goes and throttles them. But then the right wing also goes and defends these milk giants, which are exploitative to the cow. Which leave the cow. You think beef comes from is just falling from the sky like that? Do you think beef is like just lying there on the road? We just go and have to pick it up and eat it. And beef comes from the same cow which is giving you the milk, because you want to drink 5 liters of milk per week. Sorry, excuse me. And you also want extra loaded cheese on the pizza, and you also want a whole lot of butter on your paratha, and you also want a whole lot of other milk products every day. Because of this, that poor cow is getting slaughtered, and India is becoming the top producer of beef in the world. It's not very difficult to understand. It's not at all difficult to understand if you want to understand. If you don't want to understand, of course, nothing can be done. But if you want to understand, it's not difficult to understand. I'm not talking about quantum physics here. I mean, how can people talk about things like quantum physics, biotechnology, AI, machine learning. I'm not even talking about any of these hi-fi things. I'm talking about very simple common sense things. Many people here are highly educated. How can such educated people who are very proud of being educated, how can proud people, educated people, not understand such a simple thing that milk comes from the same cow, which is being sent for slaughter once she's not giving milk because the farmers don't want to keep her, because the cow has been reduced to just a milk giving machine. Somebody is asking, Parikshit Padharia is asking, isn't meat export buffalo and not cow? Are you, Parikshit Padharia, do you want to volunteer to go and find out whether that meat is buffalo meat and not cow meat? Please tell me, how will you find out? Once the animal has been slaughtered and once the beef has been, packaged or whatever, once the animal has been slaughtered and reduced to beef, is there a way to find out whether that is cow meat or buffalo meat? Is there any way? Is there any way to find out what we are selling is cow meat or buffalo meat? Is there any distinguishing factor? Is the government or any industry or any producer, are they putting any checks in place? Are they giving us any yardstick, any parameters, anything to explain how that is only buffalo meat? How can we be assured that that is buffalo meat and not cow meat? Now, you think there are lab tests. I also think there are lab tests, but are those lab tests being done? Are the results being made public? That is for sure only buffalo meat and not cow meat. And why should even buffaloes be slaughtered for that matter? Thinking, I can also think 1,000 things. I also think that, maybe there is a law in place, maybe there are some things. Thinking is not what I'm asking. Is it being done? With every time we are exporting a batch of beef, are these results being made public? Are these tests being done? And even if they are done, how do we know it's done on all the metric tons of meat which is being exported? You can take a few kgs of cow meat, do the test, and say that it's all buffalo meat. So thinking is very easy. Thinking is very cheap about what you think could be or could not be. This is all hypothetical stuff. How do you think India became the top producer of beef? Please don't tell me that it is only with buffaloes. Even the maths will not add up if you actually look at the numbers of cows and buffaloes and the amount of meat being produced. Most of the data on cow slaughter is not public. Not public. There is a very small list of slaughterhouses which is available officially. These official numbers are in no way reliable. There are so many small butchers and so many small slaughterhouses which don't even exist on paper. They exist as something else on paper, probably. They don't exist for the official purpose of documentation. And India is a country where even if we have laws, the laws are not followed. The laws are not implemented. The states where cow slaughter is banned, even in those states, it is a lot of times it is very difficult for Gorakshaks to even save cows. In some places, the policemen themselves are sympathetic to the cause, so they help. But that's not true for uh, all the places. Like even one state has so many jillas, so many districts. Not all policemen, not all the police, not all the law enforcement are cooperative with the Gorakshaks. They get bribes. They take money to help the smugglers smuggle meat and to smuggle cows themselves. Live cows are transported. Do you know that there is an illegal trade just because of this, zigzag level of cow slaughter ban in India? The states in which cow slaughter is banned, cows are packed in a truck and sent across borders to other states for cow slaughter, for leather, for beef. And they're sent in really inhuman conditions. They don't have even air to breathe, even water to drink, forget about food to eat. Sometimes their limbs are broken so that they will not run away. Because cows are strong animals, cows are not that weak. They have horns, they have ways to protect themselves, which is why they are incapacitated in every way. They are starved and they are deprived of water on purpose because they will become so weak that they will not be able to run away. You think packing 60 cows in a truck and transporting them, I mean, don't you think at least one of them might want to kick out and attack the person who's packing them? Cows are not stupid animals. Cows are extremely intelligent animals. This is why many times these animals, their their eyes are plugged out, or they throw acid in their eyes, they throw chilies in their eyes, they throw acid on their legs, they break their legs. Fracturing them is difficult because cows and bulls are very strong animals. They eat a lot. That means they're very very strong. So like cowards, human beings actually throw acid on cows. They try to blind them. They try to break their limbs so that they will not run away, so that they can be conveniently sent for slaughter, so that it's easy to send them for slaughter. And because we don't have a universal ban on cow slaughter, this type of cruelty is common. It happens. And it is very heartbreaking. It is extremely heartbreaking. When I say that what we do to animals is nothing short of a holocaust, people get very aggravated. And how can you say, what do you mean? How can I say? This is exactly how human beings were tortured in the Holocaust. What we are doing to animals is nothing short of a holocaust. And then there are people who come and justify these sort of things just because if there's some political narrative or because they hate PETA. Even I don't like PETA. PETA blocked me long time ago because I defend Hindu culture and I don't believe that whatever PETA is doing is in any way aligned with Hindu culture. But the problem is that these so-called Hindu activists or political activists or whatever activists they are not justifying these cruelties. Now, I want to come back to the original point which I was making, that to increase this yield of milk, this commercial dairy milk, we need to first of all breed cows insanely. This creates a huge health problem for cows. They are so susceptible to infections. They become weak. Their lifespans shorten. They lose the desire to even live because many times their calves are also taken away from them. Secondly, when you're doing this kind of a insane breeding of cows, you're creating a stray cow problem. India is the only country in the world which has 5 million stray cows. Thirdly, when you create this kind of increase in milk supply, what happens, the other third thing which happens is that many of these cows are just straight away sent for slaughter after they stop giving milk. India is the biggest producer of beef in the world. So all of these problems need to be understood. Now I'll come to, these are all the problems. There are other problems also. I'll recount them as I remember them. But there are other aspects to this which we need to understand, and I'll come to why we need vegan options. Many people are like, okay, we agree with this humane dairy, but why do we need vegan? It's not our culture. Well, first of all, first things first, animal cruelty is not our culture. So let me first be clear about that. Animal cruelty is not Hindu culture. The punishment for cow slaughter was death, as per all Hindu scriptures. Very unequivocally, unequivocally meaning there are no two ways about it. Whether you see Manusmriti, whether you see Vedas, whether you see Agamas, whether you see Upanishads. Upanishads actually don't talk about day-to-day life, but if you see, whether you see Mahabharata, whether you see Ramayana, pick up any Hindu scripture, punishment for torture of cow, for murdering cows is death. Even participating in that cruelty to animals is extremely, I don't even know how to recap it actually. It is described that even if you kick a cow, you will be denied any kind of guru or any kind of spiritual guidance, anything in your life for at least 100 janmas. This is what our scriptures say. This is how, to the extent to which all our rishis, all our gurus have gone to denounce cruelty towards animals, especially the cow. So before you come and start preaching to me that veganism is not our culture, first understand what is and is not our culture. Now, I'm not 100% supporting veganism. I'm just saying that we need to move away from cruelty-free life, because there are many vegans who go around. I know many people have been going around claiming that nobody drinks animal milk after this age, whatever. That's not true. Cow feeds all animals. Even if you put a little cub of a cat or a dog or even a tiger, the cow will feed that also. Even dogs feed other animals. So please do not bring these kind of stupid Western ideas here. This part of veganism I do not agree with, because this part of veganism is a completely disconnected with nature. It is completely disconnected with natural way of life. The nature's way of life is symbiosis, nurture and be nurtured. When you say no animal drinks the milk of another animal, you are giving a very stupid argument. That means you have never lived in nature. You have not lived with animals. Because if you put animals together, if you put a cat, a dog, a cow, some other animal together, mammals, if you put them all together, and if, for example, if the cat has little babies and the cat dies, the kittens will drink cow's milk. It's not. So please stop distorting actual ideas of what the nature's way of life really is. The only part of veganism I am supporting is that there is nothing wrong with taking plant-based products. I'm not supporting the part of veganism which brings all sorts of psychotic Western ideas which do not fit into nature's way of life. So before you start trolling me, take some time to understand what I'm trying to say. I need at least 1 hour to explain this point, because there are many aspects to it. It is a very nuanced thing. I'm also not feeling well. There is a book I wrote. I spent several months writing this book. Now you want everything to be, you want to understand everything in just 5 minutes. It does not work like that. So please have patience before you start trolling me. I'm not supporting this type of veganism which says that, oh, elephant can't live in the temple and cow can't do this. And no, please, I'm not supporting all that. All I'm trying to say is we do need vegan alternatives, because there are some thick-headed people in our society which will still not understand the difference between commercial milk and humane milk. There are enough idiots in the world. What can be done? There are still many people who will not be able to, will not want to reduce the level of consumption. We are living in a world of idiots. What to do? So, I mean, is this in any way surprising? Do you think all these people who are championing for Amul, do you think they're getting some money from Amul? No, it is because they are the consumers. They are the ones who want to defend the right to kill animals, to exploit animals. There are people like this in the world. And of course, there are also unconscious people in the world who will still not want to reduce their consumption. Eating a lot is somehow considered to be something very good. It is completely adharmic. Hindu scriptures don't ask you to eat like a pig. A pig is a pig because he eats like a pig. Human beings are not supposed to eat like a pig. You cannot become a yogi if you eat like a pig. You become a pig when you eat like a pig. So please try to understand the problem from an individual as well as a societal level. My championing for humane milk will not bring down the level of consumption tomorrow, or even in 1 year, or even in 5 years. There is a certain demand for dairy and for milk products. That demand cannot be met by humane milk because it's an oxymoron. You cannot create that level of humane milk because creating that level of humane milk itself means breeding a whole lot of cows, and then you people have still not learned how to sustain those cows. Then you will say, oh, we are going broke, we don't have money to feed those cows, and then you will send those cows for slaughter, or you will let them loose on the street. We can't take care of them now. Then what? You created the same problem only. How the hell is it humane milk then? It will not be humane milk. If you try to increase the supply to meet the demand, what is existing right now, it's not possible. So my proposition is not that Amul also completely shuts down their, whatever functioning altogether. What I'm trying to say is Amul can exist, but they cannot exist as they're existing right now. That is not sustainable. That is exploitative even to those farmers, because this is a disincentive for those farmers to move to a sustainable lifestyle. This has become a very easy business now. You just force a cow to breed, keep breeding cows, send those cows on the street or send them for slaughter, just keep selling milk. That's it. You have not thought about the problems you're creating for the rest of the society. It's a very simple thing. You're not thinking about yourself, you're not thinking about the society. There is no incentive for these farmers to move to sustainable practices. Tomorrow, if there is a drought or if there is some other problem, if there's some, we are already in a catastrophe actually. I don't even need to say if tomorrow we are in some catastrophe. In the time of economic problems, in the time of economic adversity, this model will give you much more problems, which you're following right now. Because these farmers have not learned how to make their establishment, how to make their farm sustainable. They found what you call easy money. The milk money they're getting right now is easy money. They're not learning also how to move to sustainable lifestyle. How will they make humane milk? These idiots who are supplying milk just for money, you think they have any interest in making their establishments sustainable? They don't. That is why we need vegan plant-based milk products. And even if you don't have it in the market, you can make it at home. And please stop giving these kind of arguments that, oh, vegan milk is expensive, vegan milk is difficult to make, blah, blah, blah. Oh, please. You just need like coconut or almonds or cashews, whatever you prefer. There are many ways of making nut milk at home. If you can make dosa at home, you can make vegan milk at home. It's that simple. That's what I've been saying since the beginning. Because both require same kind of effort. Even for making dosa, you soak the urad and the rice overnight, right? You blend it in a blender. So that's all you're doing. Even in vegan milk, you soak it for some time, or you refrigerate it, or the process is slightly different. Then you blend it in a blender. Why don't you do it? Why can't you do it? If you can make dosa at home, you can make vegan milk at home. I'm not saying everybody has to move away from milk completely, and even if I were saying it, who is doing it? It's not like I'm like, I don't have like 10 million followers that whatever I say, people will start doing it. But I'm not saying it also. I want us to move towards humane milk, but realistically speaking, we cannot meet the current demand for milk with humane milk, with ahimsa milk. It's not easy. It's not doable. And the demand can come down only when there are alternatives. Otherwise, there will be other types of problems. And that problem, I don't think we are prepared to deal with. If we suddenly reduce the supply of something, it doesn't fix the problem. We need to find alternatives to give to people. So I'm just saying that not everybody will be able to shift to humane milk, even logistically. In in villages and in extra, what do you call it, outside the cities, there are at least options, because these are the places where you keep cows. You can't keep cows in the middle of a city, in the middle of a metro. So people who live in metros, they have very limited options to even obtain humane milk, right? So this needs to be understood, that even if people want to shift to humane milk, we do not have that kind of urban infrastructure where everybody can actually get humane milk. It's not possible for many people. So even for these people, they need to reduce their consumption of cruel dairy. They can replace that with vegan alternatives. So I think I have made this part at least clear. Also, there are some people who are asking these type of questions that, oh, vegan, is it good? Is it fine for health? It's not part of our culture. Okay, and all these people who start citing the Shastras to me, asking me, can we have vegan milk? It's not written in our Shastras. Are you brushing your teeth as per Agamas? Are you taking baths as per Agamas? There is a process. Come on. If you're going to ask me, if you're going to ask me, vegan milk or plant-based milks are not as per our shastras, should we take it? Then please tell me. Do you even know that our shastras tell you how to brush your teeth, tell you how to take a bath, tell you how many times what you should do for puja, what items you should use for puja? Are you living your life as per that? It is explained at what time of the day, how you should brush your teeth, which direction you should face. There are different types of snan mentioned: Agni snan, Vayu snan, of course, Jal snan, fire walking. There are many types of snan, methods of purification, which our shastras explain. Are you doing that? Are you following those? Because if you're not, please don't come and tell me that veganism is not our culture, it's not in the shastras. Oh, boo hoo. That's what I want to say. Please, our culture is not animal cruelty either. Veganism is just basically consuming those same plants in a different form. That's all. How is it not our culture? And in Charak Samhita, there are and other Ayurvedic texts, there are n number of formulations, both using dairy. Like, of course, in those times we had only humane dairy. There was no concept of cruel dairy at the time when Charak Samhita and Ayurvedic texts were given. But to answer this question, of course, we use all sorts of herbs, all sorts of plant products, and all sorts of dairy products to formulate different medicines for different purposes. And even in the Ayurvedic texts, what type of item should be consumed by whom is described. What, depending on your prakriti, depending on your tendencies, your health conditions. So it's not even like dairy is good for everybody. No, it's not. There are certain types of dairy which are not good for somebody. In certain cases, the Ayurvedic texts actually tell you not to drink cow milk, to drink buffalo milk, or to drink camel milk, or to drink goat milk. So Ayurvedic texts tell you to drink milk of not just the cow. First of all, there are, again, I'm coming answering that argument also, which people were saying, oh, why are we only drinking milk of the cow? No, it is bad if it is exploitative. Otherwise, nature's way is feeding each other. It's not wrong. And even animals, dogs, cats, they drink milk. Come on, are you kidding me? That means you've never had a pet dog or a pet cat. If you say that cats and dogs don't drink milk after infancy. The staple diet of most vegetarian dogs, at least, is bread and milk. Anybody who has had a pet dog or lived with pet dogs knows this. They eat that for their whole lives, not just when they're infants, not just when they're pups. Same with cats. They drink, most of the cats. Of course, cats are fussy animals, so they may like it, not like it, but there's nothing like they cannot or won't drink it. But yeah, coming back to the Shastras thing, which somebody was asking, Is it in the Shastras? Please, there are hundreds of things in the Shastras which you people do not follow. Even I don't follow. Let me be honest. I'm not trying to look like some sort of a hero here. Shastras say hundreds of things which we are not following right now. But at least don't bring this argument that, oh, it's not in a Shastra, so we should not drink almond milk. Come on. Almond milk is just another form of almond. You not eat almonds or what? What nonsense arguments are you people giving now? How can you have problems with consuming almond? You apply almond oil for so many health things, for health benefits. There are so many Ayurvedic recipes, so many Ayurvedic formulations which use almond, in crushed almond, and blended almond or oil of almond. What are you talking about? How can you ask these questions? So try to understand this matter in a little bit of depth and try to understand what I'm saying with some depth. At this point, are there any questions? Now I can answer some questions if there are any questions. As you can probably see, I actually have throat pain as well as I have a sprain in my neck. So I won't be able to sit like this for too long. But if somebody has a question, I can answer. So this video is actually good even after the live session. You can ask me questions even after the live session. I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time, but one thing or the other, it got delayed, so I decided to do it today. Now, in my book, Economics, I have actually explained most of these things in a whole lot more detail than I've been able to do in this 1 hour video. And that is because this 1 hour video alone, I've only been able to address this topic of beef industry, veganism, and the commercial dairy. The commercial dairy is something I've not directly talked in length about in the book, but all the other aspects of how this beef industry is extremely bad for the environment, for ecology, and for you is discussed in great length in my book, with all facts, with all data, with all scientific research. Puneet ji is asking, enjoyed reading your book. Thank you so much. Are you planning a follow-up? So yes, definitely I will be planning a follow-up, and I will also be updating some of these things on my website, thisconomics.com. So I'll upload this present video along with its transcript as well on the website, so that somebody wants to read it. And whatever new research comes up, or whatever new findings I am able to make on this subject, I will definitely expand it in maybe a second book in some other format. So I've not started writing it, but I'm in that stage where I'm gathering some of the material and some of the research, because unfortunately in India we are not researching this subject. It's very sad. But the sustainability in a cow-based economy, this subject is not getting due attention from the scientific community in India. As many of you might be knowing, there was a recent a conflict between IMA and Patanjali. And the basic, it's not even about Patanjali or IMA. The basic problem is that a lot of the allopathic medical community is dead set against Ayurveda, against the sustainable lifestyles. Unfortunately, I'm not saying all doctors. Of course, there are many good doctors, and I myself know many good doctors who themselves support Ayurveda. But a lot of the people in the scientific community don't, and they do not want to do research on this subject. So that is why this is not getting the due attention it should be getting in India. I'm hoping to change that. But also outside India, there are organizations, there are people, there are scientists, scientific community who are researching this subject a lot. Unfortunately, in India, we were leaders in all of these disciplines, in Ayurveda, in astrology, in all the science, pure science, applied science. All of these things, we were the world leaders. But right now, we have lagged so much behind that I don't know how long it's going to take for us to catch up. Unfortunately, right now we are not leading the world, even in Ayurveda or in sustainable economy. We're not able to because the country is all like खंडित हो गया है हमारा देश छितर बितर हो गया so एक आयुर्वेदिक faction है एक allopathic faction है it's like that right now unfortunately it's a very sad state of affairs but that's what it is. But the Westerners, the Western scientific community, many people have discovered that uh, there's a lot of benefit to be got from Ayurveda, from Indian Hindu practices, and they are researching it. And some people may not even be stealing. Some are, of course, stealing from India, especially the media. The media is the first one to steal content from India. But there are also other, scientific researchers which they've just arrived very late. We discovered those things thousands of years ago. They are only discovering it just now. They need not even necessarily be stealing from us. It's just only now they're discovering that there is some benefit to this because they are so disconnected from a natural way of life. So they have not discovered it till now. Only now they're discovering that, for example, fasting is good for health or whatever. Temple economy in your next book project. See, for temple economy, there is a book on temple economy. It's not available in the market, unfortunately. I am trying to get that book. For temple economy, I also want to recount and research the way a temple economy used to function because that is very important. Like I have the text from Agamas on what was given as a lifestyle to be followed. And I have that whole Agamas actually give you sort of like the urban design or urban layout of cities around the temples, all that. But I want to know exactly how it was followed also, and that's very difficult to find. So that's why I'm not able to completely, you know, push that subject forward because I need some sort of research for that. But temple economy, since you're asking, it was actually a part of the cow economy. They are not two separate because it is the temples which had the goshalas. Temple and goshala were not two separate parts of our economy. The temple and see goshala, of course, individuals also had, every individual had a cow or a few cows. That was definitely so. But their temples used to keep a goshala of their own and nurture those goshalas, and those they offered puja every day to those cows. Those cows were worshipped before like many yakyas, and there was Vaidyashala alongside the goshala. So it functioned as one integrated system. Exactly. So we are very far from that now, but at the same time there are many temples in India, especially I think even in South India, North India, South India, both. There are many temples which do still follow that lifestyle, especially in Vaishnavite cultures. So that answers that question. Somebody is saying, Bhaskar Tripathi is saying, according to Bhojan, Kuthala, cow milk instantly delays aging, increases lifespan, rejoins the broken tissue, and rejuvenates the body tissues, increases ojas. Which other milk can do the same thing for? Okay, wait, I'm not able to see the whole thing myself. Same thing for, okay, the sentence is incomplete. See, cow milk, there is nothing like cow milk. To put it very simply, I'm not asking you to take vegan milk because it is same as cow milk. We need to get out of these binary approaches. I'm just saying that plant-based milk is a way of getting that same humane cow milk, which has these qualities which you are talking about. You cannot get cow milk with these properties which you are describing if you take it from that commercial dairy industry. So what the properties you're describing are mentioned in Ayurvedic and Vedic texts, right? But um, These properties only come from cows which are nurtured, which are worshipped, which are not tortured, which are not exploited in any way. There is um, there is no reason for an exploited, tortured cow to give these properties to its milk. It's common sense, man. When that cow is being tortured, when she's upset, when she's weak, when she's being injected with oxytocin, when she knows she's going to be sent to the slaughter after she gives milk, do you think she will be in that same high, happy, blissful state of existence in which she gives this quality milk? No, she will not. So, to get these qualities in cow milk, we need to first ensure that the cow is nurtured, is worshipped, is taken care of. And to ensure that, we need to reduce our consumption of dairy cow milk. And that can only be achieved when you also use all vegan alternatives. I'm not saying completely block out dairy, but I am saying that you need to move away from cruel dairy. Cruel dairy does not have these qualities. Milk you get from milk conglomerates do not have these qualities. And a lot of this milk is adulterated. Do you know that last year there was an equipment which was a device, which was some scientists innovated a device which can actually test milk on the spot and tell you whether that milk is adulterated or not. That news was neither reported by mainstream media, nor was that device adopted by the government, nor did any milk conglomerate want to use that device or make any efforts to use that device. Why? If your milk is not adulterated, why will you not want to use that device which tests milk on the spot and tells you whether it is adulterated or not? Why not? It's a very simple device, very simple testing device. It can test any milk on the spot, which tells you whether that milk is adulterated or it is pure milk. But that device is not being used anywhere. Okay, I'm just looking at some of the questions. Um, so somebody is saying that their dogs don't consume milk. Uh, this is your opinion, Nini Hirani. This is just your opinion. There is no law of nature which bans one being from drinking the milk of another being. If you cannot understand it, that's your choice. I cannot make you understand it. There is nothing wrong with taking it. Like, do you not do blood transfusion when a person is ill? Do you not give your blood for another person? If that is humane, if that is saving life, how is it that an animal who is voluntarily giving its milk, taking the milk of that animal is somehow bad or wrong or unethical? What logic are you using? I explained at the start of this session that the cow is called Gau Mata because it considers all creatures to be its progeny. Yes, she is definitely more attached to her calf, but she is worshipped as Gau Mata because she has a very high level of existence, high emotional bandwidth, because of which she considers all creatures to be like her own children. And that is the reason why cow gives extra milk. And if that extra milk from a healthy, happy cow will naturally give extra milk more than what her calf needs. That is not exploitative. I don't know why people are not able to understand this. Why is it so hard to understand? We have instances from Bhagavad Puran, from so many Purans, from even Krishna's life stories that when Krishna played flute, the cows gave more milk. Now, you can dismiss it as stories. Of course, there are many atheists who are masquerading as Hindus. But the fact remains that Krishna worshipped cows and Krishna actually, made that whole area, Vrindavan and Mathura, were famous for their milk and for their makhan. And they were not exploitative. They did not deprive the cows. Krishna made sure that that was done. that the cows were fed. And when the Krishna actually lived with the cows, and so cows were so happy. And even now, this is scientifically proven, by the way. The scientifically proven that healthy, happy cows give more milk. It is in the nature of a cow who is happy, who is healthy, to give more milk than what her calves need. It is the cows who have been continuously exploited, continuously tortured, then the cows become weak. If the cow has been forced to breed several times, then she becomes weak. She does not have the strength, her body does not have the nutrients to give extra milk. If you are taking care of ailing cows or cows who are rescued or cows who are, at the last stages of the lactating period, those cows will not be able to give extra milk. But a happy and healthy cow who is not suffering from any health issues does give extra milk. And that milk is for you to consume. If you do not milk the cow, if you do not remove that milk from the cow, she will fall sick. She expects human beings to drink milk. Otherwise, why will a cow allow a human being to milk her? Just tell me. Cow is an intelligent animal. Cow is an extremely intelligent animal. Why will she even allow human beings to milk her if she does not want human beings to drink her milk? Why? There are so many incidents where the cows have just kicked a person, and cow knows how to defend herself very well. The cow can just kick you out in 1 minute if she does not like you. If she feels you're threatening her, if she feels you are threatening her calf, she can actually kick you out. But there are so many goshalas, so many farms where cows are very happily living with human beings. They play with human beings, they live with human beings. And they, of course, allow human beings to milk them. Why will a cow allow a human being to milk her, if it's not for the human being? Because the calf has already had the milk. She has already fed the calf. So please stop bringing these kind of illogical arguments, which are like, literally, aapke dimag ki upaj, jisko bolte hain. I'm not against vegans, but I am against these kind of arguments which are baseless. Your dog doesn't drink milk, it's fine. Even my cat doesn't drink milk. But that does not mean that dogs won't drink milk. I will catch a stray dog right now, I will feed it milk, it will drink it. If an animal does not want to eat something, or it biologically cannot eat something, it will not eat it, no matter how much you want it to. Try feeding grass to a dog. Will it eat it? No. But if you feed milk to a dog, it will eat it. It will drink it. Because dogs can drink milk, and they do drink milk. You train your dogs to drink whatever you want, that's your personal choice. That's up to you. I have nothing to do with it. I'm not even interested in it. I have also tried to train my cat. That's again my personal choice. But to say that cats will not or do not drink milk is illogical. It is baseless. This part of veganism is something I do not agree with. This narrative of vegans. What I do agree with, I've made it amply clear if you watched the video earlier as well. We do need plant-based milk and meat options. We need options because we need to reduce the consumption of cow-based dairy. That is not physically possible unless we actually move to plant-based options. Somebody is asking. It's difficult taking prasad in temples when I know it's from cruel sources. Does it being offered free from negative karma? No. If your food is from karmic sources, or if it is from cruel sources, it's best you don't offer it, because it is not in alignment with what. So when you're offering something to a deity, you will offer what they want, not what you want, right? It's not like you can offer. Yeah, you can offer popcorn also, but if you really love Krishna, if you love Shiva, you will automatically want to offer what Krishna wants, what Shiva wants. So at least in Shiva Kumar, Shiva is described what all he wants, what he likes to be offered to him, and what he doesn't like what you should not offer to him. So it's best if you stick to those. And cruel based products are best avoided because no part of our all these paddhatis says that you can do it. So it's best you don't. And there is no such mechanism of clearing it from karma. Here in Kerala, beef consumption is higher than milk, and the harsh reality is Hindu, Muslim, Christians equally consume it. And Keralite Hindu himself don't believe cow is sacred. What can be done? I know what you're talking about is true. There are many Hindus who only carry Hindu names. They don't know the first letter of Hinduism. So what can I do about it, man? I'm trying. You also try. We can all try to educate them, but some people are like a lost cause. They won't do anything. So there's nothing that can be done. I don't believe such people to Hindus because, you know, if you don't have Hindu values, how can you be a Hindu? For him, cow worship, love for cow is actually common to all Sanatani cultures, not just Hinduism. Jainism, Sikhism, Buddhism, we all love cows. Even Buddhists, they do eat meat, many of them, but they don't eat beef. They will not eat beef. So, in fact, in many Buddhist states, like beef consumption is very very low. They don't actually eat beef. They live with cows. I don't know what is your question, Harry. IITM, a college run by conducted beef festivals for offerings to Lord Krishna was used to kill cows. I don't understand your question. Can you please ask me a straightforward question? I don't understand your question. I mean, what does beef festival and Krishna have to do with each other? Why are you asking me this question? Um, I don't think there are any other questions right now. So if there are no more questions, I will end the live stream. No, I don't know about this news. You can share the link with me, and maybe I can understand what you're talking about. Um, so I'm just trying to think if there is anything else which I wanted to talk about. If the college is run by Guru Vayu Temple, then the temple should stop this practice in the college, or they should start supporting that college. The temples should not be supporting any kind of cow slaughter. And it is really sad that if they are doing this sort of a thing. I'm just trying to remember. There was one more point which I wanted to talk about. Yeah. So now, this last point I want to make in this live video is that somehow people are confusing nationalism with supporting these milk companies and milk conglomerates. But in reality, India's nationalism was rooted in Gauraksha and in the Gauraksha movement. So in the 19th century as well as in the 20th century, it was actually the Gauraksha movement which united all of India, and they gave a very good resistance to the British in India. So, it's not that nationalism which we are seeing now. That nationalism was very firmly rooted in Hindu values, in Hindu culture, Sanatani culture actually. And it was very, very clear that we do not want our cows slaughtered, that we do not want our animals butchered for food. So today, the same people who are defending Amul in the name of nationalism, I don't understand how that is nationalism. These people have no idea of our own history, of nationalism. Our Hindu leaders, our Hindu kings, united people across economic divides, across all sorts of so-called caste divides, so-called economic divides, so-called multiple sampradayas, all sorts of sampradayas came together. Not just sampradayas, all sorts of panths, meaning Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, Hindus, Shaivites, Vaishnavites, Shaktas. Everyone came together, united under the banner of Gauraksha to resist the British. And I have given a very big chapter, not a big chapter, one whole chapter to this on in my book Economics, which you can read. And so this is the form of nationalism which actually got us independence. Whereas what we are doing now is we are actually compromising on that very thing for which our ancestors died, for which our ancestors gave our lives. So we are not even remembering our own history and calling this kind of activism as nationalism. Asking Amul to make vegan products is nothing wrong. This argument that people are going to lose jobs, which is completely baseless, is really, it just does not fly, because this has been achieved in um, achieved in other countries. Um, just moving away from cruel dairy, cruel beef to humane animal farming. This has been achieved in other countries without loss of jobs. The same people who are running the same farms, they need incentives. They need to be incentivized to follow sustainable practices, to move towards sustainable practices, to not torture animals. They need to be incentivized. Right now, their only incentive is the money they're getting from milk, which they get from these conglomerates. That's the only incentive they have. So there is no incentive for them to move towards humane dairy. So if you force them to leave their jobs, they will. But you can very easily not do that. Amul can actually just ask these dairy farms to comply with humane practices, humane animal farming practices. You don't have to sack them. Nobody is asking you to sack these people or axe them. What is being required is that they actually move to humane practices. They follow sustainable practices so they can actually finance themselves better. They have multiple sources of income, not just the milk. From cow dung and from cow mutra, there are so many things you can do with that. And I've explained all that in my book. You will actually read it. And these need to be implemented ASAP. Because tomorrow, if supply lines are broken, if there is an earthquake, if there is something else, you know, you will need alternative sources of income. So this whole argument that people will lose jobs is completely baseless. Completely baseless. There is no logic behind that argument. And the same farmers can also be asked to produce vegan milk. What are you talking about? You have a blender at home, you can make vegan milk. You can just ask them to blend milk and make vegan milk and supply that. Why can't you do that? Nobody's asking you to. And do you think these Amul and all these Mother Dairy, all these other, they have the infrastructure, they have the capital needed to set up a vegan milk making plant? If Jio can make online mobile internet for just 100 rupees a month, why can't Amul or Mother Dairy bring and produce vegan milk at the same price as other milk? Why not? You have the infrastructure. This responsibility rests on these corporates. They need to incentivize it. If you produce milk, if you price 1 liter of vegan milk at 60 rupees, why will people not buy it? They will buy it. And you can still make profit from it. There is no reason why you can't make profit from it. You can follow the same Anand pattern which they follow for Amul for vegan milk, or you can set up your own manufacturing plant, or you need not even set up a manufacturing plant. You can just get enough labor to start up shop tomorrow. So all these arguments just simply do not fly. They simply do not fly. So I just wanted to cover this part of it, that there is no question of job losses or destroying the economy. If we question Amul, no, there is no such thing. They can easily. Nimi Hirani, I am not offended by anything you have said. Thank you for your appreciation. I just wanted to address that one misunderstanding which many people have. It's not addressed at you alone. Many people were trolling me for that. So I wanted to answer that question. It so happened that you raised that question. So, and I am also glad that you have enough openness to listen to me. Many people don't even have that, at least just listening to me. So, I just wanted to answer that question because not because I want to convince somebody, but because these kind of arguments. Sorry, something has gone in my eye. That's why I'm fidgeting with my eyes. Something's flew in my eye. But yeah, so because many people bring these kind of arguments which are not connected with reality. This is not nature's way. Nature's way is that if tomorrow I am dying, Thor will come and save me, and that saving can be in any way. Just like how we give our blood to other people who are dying, we give our plasma to other people who are dying. We can. Animals also have that level of compassion and their love for other creatures. They do give their own. So when many people might be knowing this. A lot of times when we are sick, animals can feel that. Animals come and sit with us and try to heal us when we are sick. They try to, give us love and affection, and they try to heal us. Many times, even human beings will not understand you're unwell, but your pets will. Anybody who's had a pet, who lives with pet animals, who is very close to pet animals, will know this. So I'm just saying that there's a lot of wrong narratives, a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of fake narratives which are purposely floated to detract people. So these big conglomerates, they have no, if they feel that there is a market tomorrow for vegan products, they will jump into it. So it's upon us to build the pressure on them to actually produce vegan products. But instead, if we start jumping in the line and start defending them, then nothing can be done. Then cows will keep getting slaughtered. India will still be the top producer of beef, and we can all keep saying Jai Go Mata. It doesn't work like that. Let's not be hypocrites. That's all I wanted to say. I think I've covered all the points today. But if you really want to understand the dairy and beef industry and leather industry, please do read this book. Once again, reading this book is not going to make me rich. I will earn only a few bucks even if you buy that book. But I have tried to literally filter out the most important aspects of these industries, science based, Shastra based, research based, and combined it in a brief way. I didn't want to torture people with 600-page book. My book is only 200 pages. You can read it in like 2-3 days. So you can buy the book. You can buy this anywhere, but if you want a list of where all you can buy it, I just posted the link. You all the links of where you can buy my book are there. Kanomics.com/buy. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it on Ocean Press. You can buy it on Barnes and Noble. Buy it on Bookshop. So it's available on almost all the book sellers. The cost of the book is different in different countries. It is 400 rupees in India. If you're price sensitive, you can buy the ebook. The ebook is also there. And if you're on Kindle Unlimited, if you have a subscription for it, the book is on Kindle Unlimited. So if you already have a Kindle Unlimited plan, or if you want to get that plan, you can get it for free on Kindle Unlimited. If you have just joined in, please rewind the video and watch it. Also, you can watch many of my other videos on Cownomics. The book talks about the consequences of the cruel dairy, beef, and leather industry. And if you want to order Domino's, please go to hell and order Domino's. You don't need to hijack my live stream for it. It's people like you who are the problem. You see, the thing is, when you have to buy a book, everybody asks, oh, it's so expensive, 300 rupees, 400 rupees. You don't understand, this is 3 years of my work. I give 3 years of my life researching and writing the book. But 500 rupees pizza is very cheap for you people. If you have to buy a book which is knowledge, हमारे शास्त्रों में, हमारे कल्चर में सरस्वती देवी की पूजा होती है. But you only want to gorge on your that disgusting Domino's pizza. Please go ahead. What can I do? Go suffer. Eat as much pizza as you want. You will see the effects of it in your life. Everybody wants to ask me how much is it. Some people have actually messaged me asking me to send them the book for free. What are you people made up of? Somebody is giving you knowledge for only, imagine 3 years of research, visiting farms, talking to so many people, reading so much of research. I read more than 500 research papers, white papers, and documents, and more than 20 books to write this one book. And there are people who think that spending 300 or 400 rupees on that book is too much. But who will be like, oh yeah, pizza is good. Please go die with your pizza. You people deserve it. The people who think pizza is actually better expenditure than buying my book, they deserve the pizza. That's what I will say. You don't deserve the book. You don't. People who don't value knowledge don't deserve it. It's actually that simple. And like I said, your buying this book is not going to make me rich. I already have a job. I earn money from somewhere else. I have written this book because idiots need to learn. Idiots like you, Kartavya Asthana, idiots like you need to grow a pair of brains. You need to learn. You need this knowledge for countering fake narratives. Yes, I'm very rude to idiotic people. I'm very rude to idiotic people. Don't ever expect me to be like Molly coddling you. Don't come to my live stream for coddles. I'm not going to be, I'm not an American. I'm Indian. Don't expect American politeness from me. If you come and actually try to troll me, I will be very rude to you. People who think 500 rupees pizza is better than a book, research-based book, they deserve the pizza. They do not deserve the book. That's all I'll say. And I didn't write this book to become famous. I didn't write this book because it earned me a lot of money. Whatever you guys pay for the book, it just helps cover a minuscule of the costs of the work I put into my next books. Minuscule. Maybe 5% of the cost which I bear from my own pocket to write the next book comes from this book sales. So please don't think you're doing me some favor by buying my book. You're doing yourself a favor. I'm giving you the knowledge which it will take you 10 years to gain if you don't read the book. It'll take you 10 years to achieve that knowledge on your own. I have tried to condense it in one book of 208 pages. Anyway, I don't want to drag on. I'm very tired. Like I said, I have a sprain in my neck and I have a little bit of a pain in my throat also. So I will end this live stream here and I'll try to announce a little bit ahead of time when I do the next live stream. But it's not always possible because my schedule is very busy. So it's very difficult for me to schedule ahead of time. I'll try to, but I will definitely have more of these live streams and I'll also try to bring in more experts. So I want to bring subject matter experts into my live streams who explain certain aspects of cow activism, of dairy industry, of beef industry, and they give their own personal experiences from working in this industry. So I'll end it here and thank you so much to everyone who joined in, whether you like me, you dislike me, whether you troll me or you don't troll me. Thank you for joining and thank you for watching. And please do buy the book. In maybe in 3 weeks time, it will also be available in ebook format on all other platforms outside India as well. Right now it's available only on Kindle in ebook. I'll make it available in all other formats as well, like Kobo and there are other apps, Barnes & Noble, Nook. So I'll make it available on all platforms in 3 weeks or something. And thank you to everyone who's bought the book. Please share your reviews. Please post your book review on Amazon and on Goodreads because it helps other new people understand what the book is about from a reader's perspective. So reader's perspective is always important. Like I can keep talking about it, but for a reader, They want to know what other readers think. So if you just write even a few lines about it on Amazon or Goodreads, it helps other people decide, and it also helps the book show up a little bit more in search results. So thanks everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for making this a very interesting live discussion. And I'll have more of these every week.